till when a pilot ejects from their plane, the ejection seat manufacturer gives them a T. The ejection T club is confined solely to those who have emergency ejected from an aircraft using a Martin Baker ejection seat. There are over 60 members. Interesting. Did not know, and I spent a couple of minutes looking for a good image of the T. Only potato quality results. Or mobile. Twitter. Com or a Monkman or status or quintillion, 46 quadrillion, 840 trillion, 20 billion 487 million 815,168 or photo or one. Former Navy, worked around the famous snort track in China Lake that was the location of much of the that went into making these amazing contraptions. As a pilot, you were basically sitting on a dozen different bombs waiting to fire off in a specific way that will allow you to blow off the canopy, launch you out at over 100, right the chair and boost you up to a safe altitude to deploy the parachute, even if you ejected upside down at 100 off the deck. What they are now is just amazing compared to what they were. When I was on scholarship in a Navy program, we would get guest speakers all the time. One was a former Navy pilot and the father of a classmate. He told us how he ejected from OT 38 as an instructor. They were only traveling 600, but the force of the wind hitting him when he left the cockpit was enough to force his legs basically up and alongside his body and tear his body and shatter his hips. He survived, but has trouble walking still and is handicapped. Modern ejection seats have belts which cinch down your limbs and prevent massive damage during high-velocity ejections. No one's proud enough for more megapixels. They used to give you a custom Breitling watch as well, but now you have to buy it. My granddad was ejectee number 1 when he ejected from the A-52 flying wing. He got a Rolex watch from Martin Baker at the time. The Rolex was stolen in the 70s, but it turned up in New York in the 2000s. Martin Baker brought it back to Granddad, but he said he wanted to auction it off to raise funds for the RAF Bomber Command Memorial. Martin Baker then bought it from him to display in their company museum and gave him the Bremont watch. He was pretty much a celebrity in the ejection circles. All he had to do was ask a favor and Martin Baker would do it. Even when he died, Martin Baker did a special warning triangle wreath out of poppies for his coffin. This is a great story. He was pretty much a celebrity in the ejection circles. The Ejection Circles is my new math rock band. John Oliver Lancaster. Not only a celebrity, but he flew the AW-52, which was a cool-looking thing. Did he fly the AW glider as well during testing? I survived ejecting from a plane and all I got was this fucking T. Well, you avoided the major spinal damage that ejector seats usually give pilots, so that is a positive. They also have a club with meetings yerk. Former Marine Corps ejection seat mechanic. The other tradition was that the surviving pilot or navigator brought a case of beer to the seat shop and one to the parachute shop in the unit. As an avionics technician in the USEF, the only time a pilot brought us anything it was because he nearly ripped the wings off his jet. He bought our whole shop lunch and spent the day being our tool bitch. We were basically told to treat him like an onyx for a day. Dude came about as close as you get to losing his wings. Air Force seat mechanic here. A few years ago we had a guy punch out and make it just fine. He brought some really good stuff to the shop, hundreds of dollars worth on the anniversary of his ejection for 5 years. It was great. Sounds fair, but make that every big case. And no natural or bust crap. Shame the aircraft makers did have to follow suit. Oh, our aircraft could sustain flight. Here's a bag of popcorn. Former ejection seat parachute packer here. There's also a watch and Jimmy Fallon, maybe Kimmel. I done know him at the doctor gave it to his father. The process of ejecting is intense and very fast. The engineering behind ejection seat is impressive, especially in our newer aircraft. I miss me job. Our motto is, the last to let you down. And we mean under a good chute. We mean under a good chute. Well, we me good. It's a Vermont watch with a special red ring around the case. Others can buy the watch, but you have to prove you ejected to get the red ring. Hats. Or was. Vermont. Come or pages or explore. Vermont. Partnerships. Martin. Baker. I can't wait to go back to a heavy's base so I don't have to deal with anesthesia. We have the same motto at me funeral home. Ask the doctor which one, Kimmel or Fallen, would be more appropriate if they sent them a new pair of underwear. Up until me last move, I had a set of technical manuals for the Martin. Baker seat used in the earth. The seat used in the fork. My dad's last job in the Air Force was teaching techs to maintain and service them. As I recall, about half of the content in the manuals were warnings that if you don't follow the safety procedures exactly, you will die. You working F-15s, we spent a full day during training going over how to not kill ourselves with the seat in the cockpit. Then we spent a full class in the cockpit learning how to save the seat after a jet lands. That's about the only piece of tech we had on the aircraft I did see fuck up and hurt somebody during me 6 years. If you press this button you will die. If you don't press this button you will die. If you mix up the buttons you will die. 35 F-16. 38 and F. 22 aggress guy here. Martin. Baker has been one of the primary manufacturers of ejection systems for several decades since the end of Hawaii. Now, the Navy and USNC are the primary current operators of aircraft with Martin. My aircraft. Wait, Baker seats, but the Air Force has been quickly going back to them with adoption of the F-35 with the MB-16 seat. The legacy era or fourth-gen fighters of the USAF have all used ACEs, I seats, as well as the ON-B2, 117 and F-22. These seats are both works of art and can be total pains in the ass. The complexity of these systems is absolutely staggering, and the amount of redundancy these seats are capable of is phenomenal. Compared to an ACES, the A16 is a far easier seat to work on, but it's still constantly getting updated as the F-35 program is still progressing. When I first read the title, I was thinking the T just came out a compartment in the ejector seat, allowing you to land in style. And airplane ejection is no reason to lose one's sense of decorum after all. Yeah, it's like part of their disguise. You eject, land in enemy territory, and just put on the T so no one suspects that you might be a fighter pilot, 'cause fighter pilots don't wear T's, right? So, do they become T fighters? It's, however, not a fun club to be member of. It puts terrible strain on the spine, and in some places pilots are forced to retire after 2 ejects because the back can't take it anymore. Was an Air Force medic Oryx. Ray technician 1972. 76. Had several patients from ejection, including released pose in 1973. There were two common injuries: compression fractures of the lumbar spine and fractured elbows. Force of ejection compresses the spine, and if you fail to get your elbows in, you can hit one on the inside edge of the cockpit. Using the handle between your legs helps eliminate that, but if you use the handles on the seat arms, it can be a problem. Some of the released pose had to have arms were broken and freshly set. Was much to do for backs at the time, but probably need discs removed and fusions later in life. Imagine ejecting twice. I think I also heard of separated shoulders or something as well. But I guess it's better than the alternatives. I don't really have a lot of fears. For the most part, I believe what's going to happen is going to happen. All you can do is be as prepared as possible when an event occurs and hope you handle the situation as best as possible. People always make the joke, why would you want to jump out of a perfectly good airplane? Well, the reality is, when that aircraft is no longer perfectly good, it's a little late to learn how to parachute out of it. I know that the Army sent me to its parachutists course so that they could deploy me by air for tactical purposes, if need be. The point still kind of stands. Be prepared for as much possible, within reason, and hope when the time arises, if it ever arises, you are as prepared as possible, and do the best you can to overcome the situation. Anyway, maybe it's because I feel like I don't have any control of what happens. Or maybe it's because of all the people I have personally known that were injured or killed in them, but I hate riding in helicopters. I have known people were literally burned alive in helicopter crashes. So I respect the hell out of the courage and skill pilots of any type of aircrafts possess. But if my plane was going down, you damn right am ejecting. Physical consequences be damned. But a damn T. Granted, I know they also get, in addition to the distinctive T, to be worn with civilian clothing which provides a visible sign of the member's common bond. Every club member is given a certificate, membership card, patch T, pin or a brooch for the women. All T Club memorabilia depicts a red triangle warning sign, the recognized international danger symbol for an ejection seat. At least give me a sponsorship, paid speaking engagements, a book or movie deal, or cash lol. Something. I'm living proof your product works. I am walking, talking advertisement for your company. Not so fun fact. You can't fly in a fighter jet if you are too tall. Height depends on airframe, but it's not very tall. If you were to eject above a certain height, your knees would catch on the front of the cockpit and take them off. We had a guy get rejected from an incentive flight for that exact reason. We had some old military dude come talk to our class in high school once, and he was explaining that the ejection seat has rockets at the bottom and that's how you eject. He also said that the force of ejection compressed the spine, and if you are not sitting right, you go from a very bad time to a worse time. He said he got shorter, I think, but please take this tidbit with a grain of salt, as I was probably stoned during that assembly. Which hindsight is probably why I just sat and listened to it, even though I could give two fucks about air travel lol. How many jets do pilots go through in a career? Additionally, the pilot who ejects gifts a bottle of scotch or bourbon to the mechanics who maintain the seat. Supposed to. A pilot at me unit punched out and did bother to stop by the seat shop and say thank you. A shoal. In why they established the Caterpillar Club, for those who had hit the silk or bailed out of their aircraft and relied on their parachutes. We don't talk about the people who didn't yet ati. When I was little, my mom told us that the hazard light button in our car was for the ejection seat, and we should never, ever touch it if it was on and blinking. This is pretty cool. Hey, nice tea. Thanks. I got it for leaving a perfectly good airplane. Why did you leave the airplane? Why did you leave the air? Did you leave plane? It was no longer perfectly good. Why did you leave the airplane? I wanted this cool tea. What do women get who safely eject from their plane? Lieutenant Linda Mullany was the first woman member. She was given the option to get a tea but chose a pin instead. Not sure if that choice is available to everyone. The primary objective of the club is to provide a distinctive tee to be worn with civilian clothing which provides a visible sign of the members' common bond. Every club member is given a certificate, membership card, patch tee, pin, or a brooch for the women. All Tea Club memorabilia depicts a red triangle warning sign, the recognized international danger symbol for an ejection seat. There is a watch brand that has a model that can withstand the force of a live ejection while housing a mechanical movement, not battery. Within the range, it has a special edition that is only available to a pilot who has ejected and is part of the Tea Club. The Bremont Bone. The link has some great ejection stories by the Ejection Tea Club members. Dogo read a few. If I'm not mistaken, there is also a special mechanical watch you are eligible to purchase after using an ejection seat. I remember someone talking about them a long while back at an event. We'll see if I can dig up information. I do know they were pricey and hard to find due to the rarity of ejection seat members. Edit. Bremont and Martin Baker ejection seat maker make a watch you are eligible for if you use a Martin Baker ejection seat. My dad was buried wearing his tee. And it's all your fault, Maverick. Son of a goose. Your name goes on a wall at Martin Baker, and you qualify for a red bezel for the Bremonton. One watch. This is one of the best tills I've seen in a while. My aviation. Mad friends are going to love this. Thanks up. Tom Cruise must have a ton of these now from Top Gun. Maverick. It's why he's so short. He was 68 before the first Top Gun. What did Goose get? Did Goose from Tom Gun get one? No. But he got his picture on the wall at Pancho's. What do they give the people whose ejection seat fails? Do they pay for the coffin? They get a flag. Interesting. Every entry to the Ejection Tea Club means $1 million machine turned into crumpled junk. If the pilot decides it's time to pull the handle, the machine is already crumpled junk. It just hasn't hit the ground yet. Best advice from a flight instructor I was ever given. The most expensive plane you've ever flown is worth the insurance deductible. Don't sacrifice yourself to save metal. Not every or in Wikipedia or Wikio or cornfield bomber.